Hello everyone, here doing just a quick haul video on what I picked up at the 2024 Kentuckiana G.I. Joe Toy Expo here in Louisville. It is held twice every year, and it's pretty amazing to see how this show has grown. I didn't make it the very first year. One of my best friends went, and it was just, in one small room in the back of a hotel. Then they moved the next year, and they were in that hotel for several years, and it grew from one room to 2 rooms to 3 rooms until finally they outgrew that hotel completely. And now they're set up in a convention center just about 10-15 minutes outside of town in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. And not only has that grown, they've also grown in that convention center as well. Now they're in 2 rooms in that convention center. So you have the big summer show, and then you have the Winterfest in January, which I think for 2025 is coming up on the 25th of January. I can double check that. But anyway, I make it to the show every year, and usually I'm not looking for Joes. That obviously is the focus of the show, and in fact the show leans heavily towards the classic 60s and 70s G.I. Joe figures, the 12-inch figures, the Adventure Team figures, and all that stuff. There's a large collector base, and I would say that may actually be the focus of the show more than anything else. But you still see a lot of Real American Hero, and in recent years, obviously more classified and stuff like that. But there are always non-Joe things there, and that's really what I focus on, because I think I probably have a little better chance finding something unique that maybe the other people aren't there to find. Because a lot of people go to this show with their lists. They're looking for parts, they're looking for figures for their displays, they're looking for G.I. Joe stuff, obviously. So the irony is this year I did buy G.I. Joes, and I'll show you all that stuff here in a minute. But first, here's the other stuff I got. So let me go ahead and say I'm not going to do a video showing the floor of the convention, because there are many other people who do that better than I will. I actually ran into Froggy Flips out there today, and if he's on the scene, you really don't need me going back to show you the convention floor. He's going to do a much better job than I'm going to do. So I'm really too lazy to do it as well. So anyway, my first pickup, I've been looking for a decent Shogun Warriors Godzilla at a decent price for a minute. This year there were actually 4 on the floor that I counted, and I went with this one. He does have cracked toe, which I could get a replacement for that foot piece if I need to. I'm not really sweating that right now. And the lever in the back, I believe, is a repro, which is pretty common these days because these things were breaking off back in '77, and not a lot of them made it to today. So I can live with that. The tongue feature works very well. And I'm not going to shoot the fist off, but this thing is powerful. It is ready to go off at a moment's notice. So that looks great. This, I believe, is the first release. There are at least 3 releases from the US version of the Shogun Warriors line. Slight color variations, other slight variations. This one, I believe, is an original because it has the, I don't think you can see it with this camera, but he has the, yeah, there we go, Japan. He's got the Japan logo on there. I believe the other releases had USA on there. You can also feel he has the weighted feet. You can hear the sandbags in his feet. This one is a smooth tail, or a smooth pickle, as you sometimes hear it referred to. There is another version that has a couple of ridges on there. I'm not sure which came first. I'm sure someone smarter than me knows, but I'm sure it was like a running change as they went. There was one there on the floor that had the bumpy tail. It was a little more expensive, and honestly I probably should have bought that one as well. But I'm happy with this guy for now. This is definitely good enough for my collection. There were a couple other Shoguns, not many. I think I saw a Guy King, and there was also a Kamen Rider there as well. But I was mainly looking for other stuff, and this scratched that Shogun Warriors itch for now. All right, for me, the big win at the show this year was this Inhumanoids Tendril. I saw him at the same booth where I picked up the Godzilla, and he was only asking $150 for it. And these guys sell for $200, $250, even $300 pretty easily. And this is the long tooth version, and they're not broken. So $150, that was a done deal. I actually thought about it for a minute, and then immediately said, no, I better go ahead and buy that right now. And he told me, yeah, it's probably for the best. Someone was just looking at it. So this, to me, it was the bargain of the show. I'm delighted. I would have paid more had I had to, but I was happy to get it at that price. He looks great. And also just wanted to add that I did pick this up Friday night. They do have a preview night on Fridays. It's only 3 hours. Since they're at the new location, it runs from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., just 3 hours. Not all of the vendors are set up, but it's usually worth going to that if you're a hunter, you know, for specific things. It's like $30 for the Colonel's preview night. If you go the next day, they have an early bird at 9, which I think is like 15, and then the general admission gets in at 10 for like 7 or 8. But if you're a real toy hunter, it's worth going to the Friday night preview because you're going to find more deals like this than the next morning. Yeah, real happy I paid for that. And also, of course, if you pay for the preview night, that gets you in the next day as well. So definitely worth doing if you're in town and you have the time and don't mind spending a little more. So I said I bought some Joes, and I did. It's been a while actually since I bought some Joes at the Joe show, oddly enough. After I decided I wasn't going to pick up any more large, you know, random pieces, I've been telling myself for a while it would be fun to try to put together a complete straight arm set. And today I was like, you know, I have the money, and when am I ever going to find this many Joes in one place under one roof again? So the time is now. I always prefer putting things together in person over doing it on eBay. I could probably get all these on eBay very easily, but it's more fun to do it when they're right there in front of you. So the majority of them I picked up from Toy Department, who are there every year out of Cincinnati, I believe, because the prices were, you know, either in line with or below market values, you know, according to eBay, and I could get them all at once and they could give me a little discount too. So it's just easier to walk up and say, hey, I'm putting together a straight arm set, who do you have? And so they actually got most of them for me. They do all have their weapons. They're not all here on display, though. Some of them I left in the bags because I don't want to lose them. So, but everyone is here, and they're all pretty nice. All the crotches, all the thumbs, all good. And all the weapons are good. Now, the only one missing from Joe is Hawk. They did not have a Hawk. And so I took to the floor to try to find a Hawk. I did finally find one vendor who had straight arm Hawk, and by that point I'd spent pretty much all my money, so I didn't have enough left to pick them up. And I think I could probably get them a little cheaper than what they were asking for them. But after leaving Toy Department, the only ones that they didn't have a Cobra Officer or a Zap or a Cobra Commander. So I did finally, after searching, I found a lot of Cobra Officers, but they were all swivel arms, and I did find a couple of straight arms that the logo was completely missing. I finally found this one, the last booth I went to, and this has either been touched up or it's messed up, and I can't really tell, but it really doesn't look that bad to me. And I was satisfied with it, better than the ones where they're completely rubbed off. Of course, you know that silver paint is almost always gone. So for the purposes of my display and for the purposes of trying to complete this set in one day, you know, and actually in the space of about an hour and a half, he would suffice. Zap, there were only 2 complete Zaps that I saw on the floor with, you know, intact thumbs. So I did have to pay up to get them, but I didn't mind because, again, I was trying to complete this set today. That was the challenge I set for myself. And then finally I did, at long last, pick up a Coco with the Mickey Mouse ears. It's a little rubbed off, but it's there, and he has a little schmutz on his helmet. But he's real, he's authentic, the joints are nice, and this, again, is good enough. I saw maybe 4 or 5 Mickey Mouse Cobra Commanders there today. And there was one beautiful one, but at $350 it was just more than I was willing to pay. The other ones I saw were more in line with $250 or so. So this was the nicest looking one of the ones that were left, and again, for today, good enough. So my plan has always been to complete the straight arm set and then put them in that display case. So let me figure out what I'm going to do with all the guns, and then I'll get back to you. And all right, there they are. Now, you'll notice some of these labels are not correct. They duplicated some of these. I may get around to getting new labels one day, but really I'm not that worried about it right now. You'll also notice I did not display them with the weapons. They look cool with the weapons, but I just don't want to risk busting off their thumbs at this point. It's just not worth it. So the weapons are going to go in storage for now. And in the meantime, I still think this looks pretty good. And we even had room put tendril in down here at the bottom. So, new display, feeling good about it, and at some point I'll pick up that Hawk. But in the meantime, this will suit me just fine. So thanks again for watching, and if you're in the Louisville area in the summer or in January coming up, you should definitely check out the show. Thanks. Have a good day.